Hi everyone, my name is Alex. My public information project is studying the psychological influence of parental emotional support during childhood upbringing. So there are three main reasons why I chose this topic, one of them being the most foundational models of psychological research, which is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's a triangular model that has three main needs. The ones that we're going to focus on today are the ones in the psychological needs. Also, mental health awareness is related to emotional support in parenting. And also just this helps with just general education on parenting because emotional support is a very important factor of parenting. And the main people I hope to provide this information to who I think can benefit from this are parents, teachers, and other authority figures who are not parents, and people struggling with family dynamics. So before I get to my study, there are a couple studies that influenced mine. So the first one being the Mary Ainsworth Strange Situation Experiment, which I'll go into the findings first of it before going into the procedure. So it focused on three attachment styles, which are secure, avoidant, and anxious ambivalent. And so the results showed that secure attachment style was positively correlated with emotional support consistency. Avoidant was related to just the parent neglecting any sort of emotional support and even sometimes physiological support. And then also anxious ambivalent, which is an inconsistency in emotional support. So 1 minute the parent could be providing that emotional support and that attention, and then the next they could be neglecting the kid. And then the second finding that resulted from the study was academic performance. So stable attachment styles to parents is positively correlated with higher academic and behavioral performance at school, and also mental health. So people with inconsistent or neglected emotional support, also known as avoidant or anxious ambivalent attachment styles, tend to develop mental illness, so generalized anxiety disorder, depression. It can even trigger a schizophrenic episode in people who have a genetic predisposition to the disorder. So the main just general layout of the strange situation experiment, it was done in the 1970s, and it had children with their mothers. They were put in the room for a few minutes together, and then a stranger was introduced for a few minutes. The stranger and the infant were then interacting, and the mother left, and then the mother came back, and then it was just the mother and the infant, and then the procedure repeated again. So essentially what they were measuring was whether the child would play with the toys with the mother and the stranger, and the reaction the children had with their mothers before and when the mothers came back into the room after the kid interacted with strangers, as well as how the child responds to the stranger when they're alone together. So it showed that children with a secure attachment style tended to uh, be with their mothers and have a stronger bond with them and not be so upset when their moms left. And then when their moms came back, they were happy. Sometimes they would cry when their moms left, but they were happy when the moms came back. And then with avoidant and anxious ambivalent, the kids tended to have a more negative reaction. The avoidant kids tended to just not have a reaction at all and not interact with their moms and not interact with a stranger. And then the anxious ambivalents, when their mom came back, they would either get mad at the mom or they would be really ecstatic about it. And then the second study that influenced mine is one on the quality of life, parenting style, and family functioning. So three main sections of parenting style are emotional support, rejection, and control, attempt. So emotional support scored a 3.2, which was the highest out of those three styles. So it shows that a lot of parents are good at providing emotional support, especially women and parents aged 36 to 45. Also family functioning. So they tested the strengths and abilities of each family member, and the quality of life, which tested the child's quality of life, which was negatively correlated with rejection style, which means that if the parents showed that they had a higher rejection style, that means that the kid's quality of life tended to be lower. And so this is just the general layout of that study. And yeah, they just measured the data with cross-sectional analysis between the three instruments as well as the parents' age and age and gender, and they did statistical charts based on questionnaires that they gave to each parent. So my study is a multi-method study that sort of combines the strange situation and the quality of life studies. So the first would be both the control group and the experimental group would have taken part in the strange situation study to determine the kid's attachment style early on when they're a kid. And then it's a long-term correlational study. So with the agreement of the parent and the child, when they're old enough, of course, they can opt out anytime they want. They will, every year, they'll take a questionnaire similar to the one in the quality of life study until the children are 18 to 20 years old. And the control group would just take this test every year. But the experimental group would take the survey while also, with the agreement of the parent, participating in bonding activities with the child every week. So what we're looking for is comparing the experimental group data to the control group data, so determining whether attachment style changes over time with the influence of more parental bonding from early childhood to adolescence. So I suspect that with more emotional bonding between parent and child, a child who was determined to have an avoidant or anxious ambivalent attachment style to their parent would develop into a secure attachment style and have score higher on these like emotional support and emotional security surveys in the long term. So I say the key takeaway is that emotional support does lead to a higher quality of life Communication is extremely important for all family members. So some ways to help communication and emotional support are therapeutic services like marriage, couples therapy, individual therapy, and also family therapy services. And also education on parenting styles and family dynamics is really important. Thank you for listening, and here are my references.